In this video, we reveal the top performing asset classes of 2023, and more importantly, we do a deep dive on which of these investments is most likely to give you the highest possible return in 2024. If you're looking to build some serious wealth in 2024 and take your investment game to the next level, this video is tailor-made for you. Let's get into it.
In fifth place for the best performing asset of 2023 is physical residential property. According to F&B's House Price Index, residential property grew by a lackluster 1.5% nationally on average. But remember, this is an average across all provinces and all property types. Property in the Western Cape, for example, grew by over 5% for the year on average. And again, this is an average. High demand areas did provide slightly higher returns.
In fourth place, we have REITs returning around 10% for the year overall, when factoring in capital growth and income distributions.
Gold takes third place, returning a respectable 17% for the year for South African investors. Now, just as a side note, remember that gold is priced in the US dollar, which means that it does act as a hedge against a weakening rand-dollar exchange rate. And because the rand weakened by around 8% in 2023, around half of gold's performance is due to the exchange rate component.
In second place, we have equities. Whilst the JSE Top 40 only produced a measly 5% return over the year, the US stock market performed exceptionally well, especially again due to the rand hedge component it offers to South Africans. If you were invested in the Satrix S&P 500 ETF, you would have received a 38% return for the year. And if you had invested in the Satrix Nasdaq 100 ETF, you'd received an impressive 68% investment return for 2023.
And finally, in first place for the best performing asset class of 2023, Bitcoin. Returning South Africans a whopping 180% return for the year, Bitcoin blew the returns of every other asset class out of the water. And here's the really crazy part. Bitcoin's bull market is not even in full swing yet. In fact, it's just getting started. And there are some major events happening in 2024 which are likely to drive Bitcoin's price much, much higher. Let's look at a few of them.
The first major bullish development for Bitcoin is the arrival of the spot ETFs in the US, allowing every hedge fund, pension fund, and large corporation to allocate funds to Bitcoin. Finally, after 15 long years, Wall Street can get their capital into Bitcoin, and this is likely to have a massive impact on Bitcoin's price in the medium term.
The second major event for Bitcoin in 2024 is the halving, which takes place in April 2024. Without going into too much detail, what this essentially means is that new Bitcoins become around twice as scarce as gold. And this dramatic increase in scarcity is rocket fuel for Bitcoin's price, especially given the flood of capital about to enter the market from the recent ETF approvals.
Third, over 70% of Bitcoin has not moved in the last 12 months. Clearly, holders of Bitcoin have strong conviction in Bitcoin's long-term price trajectory because they refuse to sell. And this adds to Bitcoin's rapidly increasing scarcity, further fueling price appreciation.
Fourth, several large corporations like MicroStrategy and other billion-dollar companies are continuing to aggressively accumulate Bitcoin. And when you couple together an increasing demand on the one side with a reducing supply on the other, price will rise.
And the fifth major bullish development for Bitcoin in 2024 is the strong likelihood of another Latin American country adopting it as its local reserve asset. El Salvador is leading the charge here, but other countries are paying close attention. And with every new country adopting Bitcoin, millions of dollars flow into the asset class, driving the price higher.
Now there are actually a few more bullish developments which we haven't even mentioned, but as you can see from just the 5 points we've made, the stars really are aligning for Bitcoin in 2024. And if the pattern of past market cycles continues to repeat, we are now again in the early bull phase of Bitcoin's market cycle. Let's take a look at what exactly we mean by this.
Here you can see a chart of Bitcoin's long-term price history going all the way back to 2011. As we touched on earlier, every 4 years Bitcoin undergoes a halving event where the number of new Bitcoin coming into the market is halved. Now stick with us here. We're not going to go into detail about the halving in this video, but we just want to demonstrate how the halving impacts the price of Bitcoin. Now the first halving took place in November 2012 when Bitcoin was just $12. In the year that followed, this resulted in a massive price increase all the way up to $1,100, and then the market cooled off for around 2 years. September 2016 was halving number 2, with price starting at $648. Just over a year later, price peaked at nearly $20,000. And as is typical, the market cooled off for 2 years thereafter. You can start seeing a pattern emerge here. The third halving was in November 2020 with price at around $8,500, A year later, price peaked at $69,000 and the typical 2-year cooling period followed. We are now coming up to the 4th Bitcoin halving in April after our usual 2-year cooling off period. And if history is anything to go by, 2024 should be an exciting year for Bitcoin holders.
So assuming you are interested in dipping your toes into the Bitcoin market, how do you go about deciding how much of your capital to invest? Well, here's the beautiful thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the best performing asset by a very, very large margin when viewed over any 5-year period in history. And this means that you don't need to take massive risks by over-investing. You don't have to put a huge percentage of your net worth on the line. And this is such a powerful idea. Only a small 5% portfolio allocation to Bitcoin, for example, could beat a 95% allocation to any traditional asset class. In fact, it has done just that over the long term. Most investors have just not fully grasped the significance of this fact. By only risking a small percentage of your portfolio, in this case 5%, you have the ability to massively increase the returns on your overall portfolio. So to answer the question of how much Bitcoin to buy, start small. Set up a recurring purchase instruction to automatically buy Bitcoin every week or on every payday, and allow your portfolio to slowly grow over time as your knowledge and your conviction grows.
Now, if you're in South Africa and you want to buy some Bitcoin, the easiest option currently available is to set up an account on Luno. And if you use our referral code below, you'll even get 200 Rand free Bitcoin to get you started. Yes, it's completely free. All you have to do is buy 500 Rand worth of Bitcoin and your 200 Rand free Bitcoin will be deposited into your account within 30 days. Now remember to take self-custody of your Bitcoin by transferring it off the exchange and into a wallet that you control, like Moon Wallet. Watch this video if you want to learn more. And if you need help with setting up your Luno account and redeeming the referral code for your 200 Rand free Bitcoin, watch this video for a step-by-step tutorial. See you over there.